With the average property price in the capital currently at around £600,000, growing numbers of us simply can't afford to stay. But now there's hope on the horizon. How do you fancy buying a modern 3-bedroomed home in the centre of London for just over £200,000? Sounds incredible? Well, thanks to an innovative not-for-profit organisation, it's now become a reality. This former psychiatric institution in Bow is being transformed into an affordable housing project where some of the homes have actually sold for 1/3 of their market value.
If you look at London property prices, I could never have afforded anything which would have met our needs in this area. I would have had to have moved out of London. I would have had to have left the job which I love, where I've been working for many years.
Bethan Lant, one of the first to snap up a discount home on the site, lives with her partner, 2 children and their rabbits.
My children have space to develop, to express themselves, to do their homework. We can grow things along the terrace.
Despite spending several years trying to climb London's property ladder, this is the first time that Bethan fully considers herself a homeowner.
Previously, I was living in a shared ownership flat. I owned 1/4 of the flat, and ideally I imagined that I would be able to eventually buy more, but it didn't happen because the value of the flat kept increasing. So whereas my share remained the same in it, the rest of the flat became more and more expensive, and I couldn't keep up with that.
Average property prices in the capital are around 16 times the average salary. So how does the London Community Land Trust, the organisation behind this development, enable families like Bethan's to buy their home on the cheap?
We've redefined affordability by basing the price of the homes we sell on local incomes. So we worked on the basis that was commonly accepted years ago, that a family shouldn't spend more than 1/3 of their household income on their housing. So we can sell a 1-bedroom flat here for 130,000. The developer who's selling exactly the same flat on the open market is selling it for £500,000.
So London CLT is able to sell homes for about 1/3 to half of market rate because we take the cost of land out of the cost of the house. And so when people buy a London CLT home, they're not buying an asset, they're not buying an investment, they're buying a home. And hopefully local wages will rise, the cost of that home will rise a little bit, but it's not going to balloon and balloon as house prices are doing.
The land that CLT has built homes on so far has either been gifted by local authorities or purchased using grant funds. The 23 affordable homes at St Clement's were also cross-subsidised by private sales on the site. Yet, whilst the costs were reduced for the CLT residents, design and build standards are not.
This home is just incredible. I'm probably still in shock.
With panoramic views of some of London's best landmarks, Juliet's 2-bed penthouse would command well over £600,000. She paid around 1/3. But it's the fact it is well built and safe that she appreciates most. The home she rented before was anything but.
The home that I was renting, even though it cost us almost £2,000 a month, almost all of our income, was leaking. The balcony wasn't fit for purpose. We couldn't use one of the rooms because it was again, water leaking through. The electricity was almost £1,000 a quarter because of the way it was built.
Over the years, Juliet has experienced the very worst of properties that London's rental market has to offer people on low incomes.
I was living in temporary housing in East London and actually got carbon monoxide poisoning from that house and ended up in hospital in a coma. And that was something that affected me quite a lot.
That experience left Juliet with long-term health problems. Other residents at St Clement's say they also suffered poor housing in the past.
It was ridiculously tiny. I could touch my living room wall with both hands.
Social worker Adrian says his former rental home was owned by rogue landlords.
It flooded ridiculously, it was cockroach infested. There were like mice, and they were very brave mice. They used to actually run at me rather than run away. They're very confrontational mice. And it was just a nightmare. And at the point before my friend told me about this place, I was looking at perhaps moving out of London.
Adrian's mortgage repayments for his spacious one-bed flat cost less than his previous rental home. If he had not secured his new place, London would have lost another key worker.
I can introduce you to headmasters who are leaving London because they can't afford to live here anymore. The people we've rehoused are people who all thought, we can't afford to live here, we're going to have to go somewhere else.
Who's got the key? No, who's got the key to the digger? Come on.
Back in 2014, when he was Mayor of London, Prime Minister Boris Johnson came to St Clement's and backed the Community Land Trust as part of a campaign for more affordable homes. But the scheme has yet to deliver in the massive numbers our capital so desperately needs.
It's sometimes frustrating that with so much housing need in London, we are still having 23 homes here, 30 homes here. I think it's taking some time for councils to understand the benefits and to see that it can really work.
But the appetite for this type of community-led housing seems insatiable. At St Clement's, over 700 people registered an interest, but there were less than 24 homes available.
It kind of felt a little bit it's a little bit like doing the lottery. You do it, you never think you're going to win, but if you don't do it, you're never going to win.
To secure his new home, Adrian, like all CLT applicants, had to meet a list of requirements.
So the criteria was you live in the borough that the accommodation is, you potentially work in the borough, which I have done for, 15 years.
We allocate our homes to local residents that have a connection to the community, and our kind of journey with our residents at this point when we allocate our homes begins through helping them to get to know each other before they've moved in. So we'll have kind of social events, and we'll ask them to be involved in our AGM and invite them to be on our board, and so they're really involved in the governance of the organisation.
The CLT wants to ensure these properties will forever benefit local people truly in need of affordable housing. So residents are only allowed to sell their homes to other CLT members.
I never really wanted to buy somewhere in order for it to be a kind of something that I could make money from. I have somewhere to live that I love living.
Recently, the organisation secured 2 new sites, one in Tower Hamlets and the other in Lambeth. Buying a beautiful modern home in central London for a third of its market value may seem like a pipe dream, but it's becoming a reality for growing numbers of Londoners. The Community Land Trust is sending shockwaves through the building industry, proving that good, affordable housing can be delivered, benefiting not just families, but whole communities.